Hey there everyone. Now I'm going to explain and show you how this hexagram should be read. The question is asking, will A work for me or cooperate with me? Now, in order to be a good reader, we can't just simply create the question and shake the coins right after. That is not a true way of divination. In this video, I'm not going to explain why we should not do that. I will focus on how to read this hexagram only. So first of all, we need to first make our mind clear which divination method to use. Different divination methods will be having different kinds of reading methods. For example, we have the auspiciousness divination method, the gain and loss divination method. I'll show you what I mean here if you read your hexagram with a mixed method. Now I've already written the setting that I'm using the GLDM for this reading. So if you want to interpret my hexagram, you need to use the GLDM. Now, how should we read this? This question involves the asker, which is the first subject of this question. And it also involves a person called A, which is the second subject of the question. So apparently we have two subjects in this question. As usual, I set the asker as the self line and I have set A as the object line. Now a question. This is about a business question and I'm looking to work out with something with someone. So a very common question is, can we read A as the sibling line? This is also quite a common reading method because the sibling line can represent my business partner. Well, technically you can do that, but you have to understand why you read from the sibling line. If you don't understand, it simply means you are copying how others read a hexagram. I don't say that copying is bad, but you gotta understand the principle behind it. I've seen too many people reading books using the principle from the books, but doesn't understand at all why the book says so. Now let us back to the question. So I have the self line and the object line. And in this question, I need to see if I can gain the object line. So very easy to handle this kind of question. We just need to observe what are the relationship between the self line and the object line. Simply said, we need to see the 5 elements cycle from both of the lines. Let me show you what I mean here. So from the self line, we see that it is holding our spring line, that is water, and the object line is holding the office line, that is fire. Now, from the 5 elemental cycles, water restricts fire. And according to the rules that I have written in my book, Grasping the Changes of the I Ching, where you can get it from Amazon, it is worldwide delivery. You can look at page 55, rules number 3. I said when the meta element restricts the self line, then it is against. So the meta element is of course the object line. And from this simple rule, we can make an initial conclusion that I will not gain A. A will not work out with me. Simple and very easy, isn't it? So if you also read the answer as not gained, you got to make sure that you have the same reading principle as me. Otherwise, your accurate reading is just simply a lucky guess. Now let me show you what if I read with the ADM. Reading with the ADM will be in an entirely different answer. The object line is the meta element and it is generated by the moving line. So according to the rules of the ADM, when the meta element is generated, it means auspicious. So I will gain A. Now you see, when I read with the ADM, it becomes gain. So what is the true answer? Of course not gained, because I have set the hexagram to read with the GLDM. Now, some of you may notice about the sun metal that hides under the self line. The hidden lines here is sibling line sun metal. And when we compare these lines with the object line, it is a combination relationship, Si-Sun combo. Now let's look back at my book, page 55, rules number 2. I said when the meta element combines with the self line, it means gained. Don't tell me this hidden line that falls behind the self line is not part of the self line. So what does it tell us if you take this hidden line into consideration? Not if I mean, you definitely have to take this hidden line into consideration. So what now? Does it become gained? What is your final answer? things become quite complicated, isn't it? Now, before I explain the answer, let me explain to you one very important message. What if I can gain the meta element? Won't you want to know how to gain it? Of course, most of us want to know how to deal with it, right? This is the core divination part that I always emphasize. Do not just simply cast to make a prediction. Go beyond prediction. So, how can we understand how to turn from not gain to gain? Now, this hexagram is actually kind of elaborating from not gain to gain. But even you understand how to read from not gain to gain, you can't just explain like this to the asker. If you read them will not gain, and then they will gain after. First, they will confuse. Secondly, does it mean we can sit there do nothing and the miracle will happen? It must initiate something to get the result we want, right? So this line 6 is actually telling the action we need to take so that the result can be changed. And this line 6 is actually telling to change the plan and change the way how the asker should do the presentation. Once the asker changes the plan that was planned initially, A will agree to work with the asker. So now, do you get a whole picture of what this hexagram trying to tell? Of course, the latter part of my explanation here requires a very high skill of one-on-one reading technique. It is just absolutely fine if you can't get to read the latter part. So, hope you learned something from this video, and remember, a true divination learning is to learn how to make an accurate change. Only accurate changing can make your life better. If you have some hexagram that does not understand how to read, you are welcome to email it to me. So bye for now.